Howdy y'all, I'm Jacob. Welcome back to the ranch. I'm out here in the front pasture trying to get a plan together for fall seeding. We're moving into the middle part of October, which is prime time in this area to get the winter annuals seeded for both winter grazing and early spring. And I'm trying to get an idea of just where we're going to end up planting this year and how best to get this area ready for it. This front pasture is predominantly what we call the horse pasture, in that this is where we like to keep the horses separate from the other animals that we run here on the ranch. But we haven't always just had horses out here. This area is one of the first areas on the property that we fenced in and got ready for running animals. And we've had just about every single animal that we've run out here at one point or another. And from what you can tell, some of the issues we've run into with some of our earlier poor management is that we really overgrazed this area and just didn't leave anything and really just set it back a lot more than we intended. This fall, what we're going to be looking at doing is trying to get some annuals planted that will help restore the soil out here and build up nitrogen for the warm season grasses that are out here for next spring and summer. But we got a few things to knock out first, so let's get into it. Before we're able to get to work on the field and get ready for planting, one of the things we're going to have to take a look at is this fence that splits the north and south portions of the front pasture. One of the things that we've been looking at and really moving towards is only having a perimeter fence in the areas of the property that we use. That way we can section off the interior of the property with temporary fence. So to better align with that, I'm going to pull out this dividing fence because it's in the way, and two, it'll make it a lot easier to section off the front pasture in the future whenever we want to get more of a rotational grazing setup out here. So I'm going to jump in the tractor and grab some tools and see if we can't get this fence pulled out. Alright, we're back here over on the fence line. It's always nice to have a helping hand around. Although I think she's going to be more moral support than help. Alright, so this is the fence we're going to be looking at taking down. And this, I think I mentioned earlier, this is one of the first paddocks that we put up when we first got out here. And it's always fun to go back and look at the progression of things, especially in your skills as you work to develop new ones. Now let me see if I can get on the other side of this fence and I'll show you a good example of that. So this fence post is one of the first ones we put in. And you can see on these turnbuckles, what we did is when we mounted them to the post, we only used a single strand of wire to connect the fence insulator to the post. And the problem you run into when you do that is it's not much, if any, stronger than the actual fence line. And we're not using high tensile. This is all low carbon wire that we've used because we don't have the supporting infrastructure in our posts to support high tensile. But one of the things that we've learned and we've moved to is using a double strand of wire whenever we twist to make the mounting points for these insulators. And even though we don't have a good reinforcing structure for it, that provides the insulators with enough strength to hold the weight of the fence. We found a lot of the times whenever we only ran a single wire in here, that whenever we go to tension the fence, we'd break these fairly easily, which gets to be a bit of a pain. Alright, so looking at this post, it's going to be fairly easy to cut off this section. The only problem we're going to run into are these rope lines that we have in here for the horses. Probably what I'm going to have to do is cut these off a little ways away from the insulator and then pull them back and tie it into the fence. But we'll see how it goes. Oh, that wasn't too bad. And I'm probably gonna have to come back and put some wire tighteners in here, but all right, one down. Alright, that's about it for that corner. I don't know if you can tell, but the rope lines are fairly straight, but there is some slack in the wire. So I'm going to put some wire tensioners in here, but I'm going to go down to halfway down the fence to do it. I'm a little less than halfway down this fence, but I've already gotten some of these wire tighteners in here. So I figure this is a good place to use it. And when I'm using, I think they call these Jake's wire tighteners, something like that. But pretty simple little tool, just a piece of heavy gauge rod that's been bent into a shape that makes it easy for looping around here and tightening down. Let me see if I can get you a little closer. So just like I've done up here, what you want to do is you put the wire through the pinch point in here and you use this handle to crank this around in a circle and pull slack out of the wire. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I've gotten the endpoint insulators on some pretty weak lines. I don't want to put too much tension, just enough so the wire is holding itself up and not getting it tangled. I've used these on both smooth wire and barbed wire, and they work pretty good. You can put a lot of tension in a line with these. Might have gotten that just a little too tight, but it didn't snap, so I guess we're good. Alright, that's going to do it for that. I guess let's get down here and start pulling posts. I think I'm getting just a little ahead of myself. So, I still have all the wires from the fence in here, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those out, roll them up. Then, we can get to pulling posts. Well, that was fun. Alright, let's see if we can't get some of these posts pulled. don't know why stuff always seems to take longer than I think it will. Well, I think I'm going to knock out evening chores and then jump in the tractor and see if I can get some shredding done. But this is probably going to be it this evening for video because I'm losing light. So I'll pick up with y'all in the morning or tomorrow. Evening? Yeah, tomorrow. You ready for dinner, Ailey? Come on, girl. Let's go get some dinner. Come on, Ailey. Sure feels good to have this part done. Even if it did take a lot longer than I would have thought. I did find out, I think I significantly overestimated how much I could see at night. Because trying to mow and not run over anything that's going to hurt the tractor is kind of difficult when you can't see everything around you. I do think I'm going to end up having to make this into a series. This is only one of the 3 places I need to work on to get ready for seeding. And speaking of seeding, I'm still not entirely sure how I'm going to do it this year. In the past, I have used the disc over in the primary horse area to tear up the ground and prepare a good seed bed, but I don't know if I'm going to do that this year, especially in areas like this that I just mowed off and cleared, because our goal has always been to keep this native perennial grass, but to put in additional varieties that's going to help increase the nutrient cycling and build a healthy soil that'll just help improve the perennial grass that's already here. So with that in mind, one of my concerns is to not tear up or kill the good grass that's here. I just want to be able to sow in these cool season annuals that'll help improve the soil. You can kind of see what I'm dealing with. This is one of the better areas, but even in this area there's a lot of exposed ground, and I want to try and cover that as much as possible. And I don't want to bring a disc in here that's going to tear up a lot of the established grasses that are already here. And I think I have an idea of how I can do that, but I'm going to save that for next time. Thank y'all for tagging along, and we hope to see you again here on Wag Ranch. Hey girl, you getting your workout in this morning? Who's a good girl? Who's a good girl? Oh yeah, you're a good girl. Definitely tell she knows to stay away from that fence.